Hello and welcome to week 7 of building UMBARA and Lego. So this week is going to be a lot of building. I'm not going to spend as much time experimenting with techniques because for the most part, I kind of figured that out on how I'm going to build the dome. So I'm just going to be building panels and panels and more panels for the dome. But you can get a bit of a sneak preview right here and you can see that I actually finished half of the dome, so I'm really happy with all the progress that I made this week. So anyways, let's get straight into the update. So I ended up getting a small brick order in. I got some of these 1x1 plates in translucent light blue. Got some more of these 1x4 panels in dark gray. And finally, I got 4 of these flex tubes, which are going to be for the entryways. So I am going to be cutting these to be the right length, which is a legal technique. It has been done in Lego sets before. That's the only way that I would be able to get it to be the right length. All right, so the plan is that first I want to work on this area over here, and this entryway, and then this panel that's in between them. And then after that, I'm planning on doing a time lapse. I'm working on these 4 panels and hopefully finishing up this side of the half dome. All right, so for the most part, this entire left side of the dome is complete. It's pretty much mostly exactly what we've been doing over here, just done again, but there are a few changes that I have made to it. So I started with this middle section of panels. I did make one change. You can see that this is just the normal blue. That's because I don't have this piece in dark blue, and that's because I made a change to it. Basically, if you can see, there's a bar piece that's just connected to a stud with a hole in it on both sides. That's just to increase the structural stability of this panel. And basically, originally I had a 2x2 plate that I was using, but the studs were getting in the way, so I used this modified tile with the half of the studs and then half of the tile so that it's not in the way anymore. So I need to order that in dark blue. Now over here is where I spent a lot of the time, just because the stripe is kind of in an odd spot. But basically I need to order some more parts in dark blue. There's some bracket pieces, this panel. This is a 1x1 modified brick with a stud on the side. But this headlight brick in dark blue is going to be the bane of my existence because it's such an expensive piece in dark blue for no reason. In the US, the cheapest that somebody is selling 2 of them, which is how many I would need because I'm going to be mirroring this, is $7 a piece. And I do not want to pay $7 for one piece. So I'm definitely gonna have to think about how I'm gonna get that piece for cheaper possibly. I might just order one at a time because there are some people who just have one. So maybe buy one in this upcoming Brooklyn order and then buy another one in another. That's probably gonna be the way I go about it. Then I'll only be paying about $1 or $2 for it. Still a lot for just one piece, but better than $7. Basically, I then moved on to this bottom layer of panels. I worked on this entryway panel, which is pretty much exactly the same, just some little different details. And I changed up how these entryway panels meet with the other ones. So over here, I just made use of the regular panels that I did for all the other ones, which worked decently. There is a bit of a gap just because this panel is much wider than the other ones. It made it weird with how it's going to meet with them. Ideally, I should have built this panel first to determine the size of the other panels, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to make this panel. So I ended up doing the other panels first, and unfortunately this is larger than the other ones, which makes how it meets with other panels a little weird. So like on this side, I made use of these slope pieces. I was going to use the panels, but it just was sat up too high for my liking. So I made use of the panel so it slopes down a little closer to this one. But if anyone has any ideas, let me know. I'm not really too happy with it, but I think it works for now. Finally, I worked on this top row of panels. I worked on this dark bluish gray stripe, continued that across. And then I have this antenna over here, which is a little tilted to the left. I tried to make it 90 degrees, but it wasn't perfect. I made use of the hinge plate. It just isn't able to go down all the way to get to a 90-degree angle, but I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. It looks pretty accurate to the actual building. But overall, once I get the right colors in, I think this is going to look so good. I'm really happy with how this is turning out. Now it's time to do exactly the same thing, but on this side. But before we get started in a time lapse, I did get a pretty big brick order in. All right, so first up, I got this large bag of mostly 1x4 panel pieces in light gray. I need a lot of these to complete the dome. And I also have these 2x2 modified plates with the studs on the side. More of those. I've been really needing a lot of these for the panels. I also purchased another one of these dark orange battle droids just because it was found another good deal for one of them. But again, slowly building up my dark orange battle droid army. I also ended up ordering quite a lot of pieces from a newer seller. So I got more of these modified plates with the studs on the side, and then some of these 1x1x2 brackets in light bluish gray, which I already needed some of them, so I opened the bag already to grab a few. I finally got more of these 1x2 panels in dark blue. Ended up having to pay 50 cents for each of these, which was kind of unfortunate, but it was necessary because I need a lot of these for the blue stripes, and I might need some more for the actual tower that's going to go on the building. In this bag I have some tiles. I have some 1x3 tiles in light bluish gray, and then some of these 2x2 corner tiles in light bluish gray. In this final bag I have some 1x1 tiles in light bluish gray, and I got some of this newer piece, which is a modified brick that is 2/3 of a brick high, so 2 plates high, with a hole in the center. This is a newer piece, like I said. I don't have any of them, so I wanted to get some of them, and I got them in light bluish gray, which is probably most likely what I'll need it in since I'm building with a lot of grays. And finally, because I've got such a good deal on it, I purchased the Emperor's Throne Room diorama set from the seller. They had this for 28% off, and they were selling it for the retail price of $100, so I was able to get this for $72, which is an absolute steal. This early on, that's a really, really good deal. But they were running a sale on their entire store, so that's mainly why I purchased from them. And I just saw this, I knew I was going to get it eventually, so I had to buy it. All right, now we're going to get into that time lapse of working on the other half of the dome. So unfortunately, I didn't have time to finish this third panel right here, but I was able to finish these 2 panels, and I got started on this third one right here. I was working on the entryway, but I still made a decent amount of progress in that time lapse. I did, however, run out of the 1x2 tiles in light bluish gray, which is a pretty essential piece. As you can see, I already ordered more, so hopefully that'll be coming in soon. I also added this one little detail over here, making use of one of the parts of the hinge piece that I used right over here, so you can kind of see right there. I just used that just to kind of give a little bit of extra detail. I did it on the other side as well. Also ran out of these brackets in dark gray, so I'll be getting more of those soon. But overall, I think it's really coming together. I think it's going to look so cool once the entire half dome is done. And then after that, get started on the tower. Anyways, that's going to be it for this week of building UMBARA. I'm really happy with the progress we made. I do wish I was able to record a bit of the build process for these panels on that left side of the dome that I finished up. I kind of just skipped right to that once I finished it. But for the most part, it was exactly what we've been doing with all the other panels, just changed up a little bit to get the details that I needed to replicate the actual building. Anyways, in next week, I am planning on completely finishing the half dome, which of course has been the main goal in this build series at the moment. So I'm really excited to finish that, and then hopefully we can start on the tower that's going to come up from the base of the building. So I'm definitely feeling like we're getting on a better pace to have this build finished by Brick Fair, Virginia in August. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.